So I want to talk with you guys for a minute about what happens when somebody walks away from a reading feeling disappointed. Because if you are reading cards for somebody, whether it's a friend or whether it's a client, and somebody walks away not feeling great, what's happening and what can you do about this, right? Because I think immediately the first thing we think is like, oh my God, I'm a terrible reader, I did a horrible job. But that's not always the case. So let's talk about some reasons why this can be happening and how you can help yourself feel a little bit better about it. Now, the first thing we need to look at is we need to be really super honest with ourselves and be like, was that a bad reading? Did I do a bad job? Or was it something else? Because sometimes that can happen if you get really nervous, or maybe you're not super well versed in the cards yet, and maybe you felt like you could have done a better job. That sometimes is the case. So be super honest and upfront with yourself and your friend or your client if that's what it is, and make an attempt to make it right. Now, the other things that can be happening when this is going on is that sometimes people just don't like what you've had to say, right? And it's not that it wasn't the truth, or it wasn't what was going on, or it wasn't what they needed. Sometimes they just want you to tell them what you want to hear. And that is not your job as a tarot reader, unfortunately. I wish I could tell everybody what you want to hear, but that's not helpful to you. And that's not what I want to be doing. I want to really help you move forward and be happy and have the life that you want. And I can't do that if I'm lying to you. So, I'm very honest about what I see, and you have to not back down either. Just intuitively after time, you kind of know this is what it is, and that's what I'm saying, and you can argue with me, but I know that I'm right? So sometimes it's just a case of somebody not wanting to hear what you're saying because it's not what they want to hear, right? Like they wanted you to tell them something else, not the truth. So that could be one reason that that's happening. Another reason too is they might not be ready for the information that you're giving them. And that's a really hard thing to know whether or not somebody is ready for that. Now, I've been in readings before where some things people have just really not been listening, and they're arguing with you about a lot of stuff, and the tarot cards shows you something, but it's sort of more for you than it is for them, because sometimes you just know that you can't say that because they already won't hear you, right? That's a judgment call that you have to make on your own. If you feel like the situation is it's going to make it worse, and it's not going to harm them to not have the information, right? I've had to make that judgment call 2 or 3 times myself when the person has just not been in that place, unfortunately, which is too bad because what I got really would have helped them, but I just knew they weren't in a place where they were ready to hear it and listen, right? So that's another situation that could come up too. So consider that as an option. Something else that happens sometimes is some people are very controlling, right? And that's just how they are, and that's how they have to be, because if they don't do that in the rest of their life, everything kind of falls apart, right? Or sometimes too, they just have issues with, just letting things unfold. They feel like they have to control and micromanage everything in order for it to work out. Or they have a system in place in their life where when they do that, they get what they want, right? So it's kind of like a positive reinforcement thing. But spirit doesn't work like that. You can't arm wrestle spirit into giving you what you want, right? You just can't. I mean, go ahead and try it. You can manifest and do things, but if it's not the right thing, it's not going to work out for you, right? So I think another thing is too, people sometimes need to let go of trying to control the situation. Sometimes the cards are saying, hey, you need to do this and this, and that's what's holding you back. You're trying too hard, to do this, or, you have these behaviors and it's getting in your way, and they don't want to listen to you because they're like, no, this is the way I always do it, this is the way I'm going to do it, and I can make it happen. And so they're metaphorically arm wrestling spirit for control over what's happening. And I think that, spirit does genuinely have our best interests at heart. And sometimes we don't always know what we're doing, right? We think we do, but we don't. And sometimes when we take a step back and release control, spirit can get us in the right place. So when you come off a reading sometimes with somebody who has that issue, it can feel really bad. And they also too might try to say something to make you feel bad about it. They might say, well, I'm just not getting anything out of this, or, you're not telling me anything positive. And that's just because you are a mirror for them, and you are reflecting things to them that they don't like to see. So they're shutting you down by doing that. And that's fine. Just be polite and be courteous, and do the best you can to help them in the best way that you know how, and try to give them, try to answer the questions that they're asking and give them the honest answers, not necessarily the answers they need, but give them the honest answers, because the cards genuinely are trying to help. So those are some things and some situations that might leave you feeling kind of like, like not super great about yourself when you get off the phone. And just keep in mind that tarot reading is hard, and not everyone's going to be happy, not everyone's going to like it, not everyone's going to believe you, not everyone's going to trust you, and also too, not everyone's going to like your style of reading, and that's okay, right? The people that you like, that you can help, will find you. And if you want help doing that, just ask the universe for it, right? Just say, please bring me the people that I'm going to be able to help, that like my style, that work well together, that we can be a good team, right? And people that don't like me, please, remove those people from my space. And that way you can really, do the best job that you can for people. But I think sometimes also too, learning these lessons and having these negative experiences or these challenging experiences can really help us understand ourselves better as a reader. They help us learn how to treat others better when we're doing readings. So there's also lessons in there as well. So don't just take it as like, oh, well, that was, I don't need that and I don't ever want that to happen again, or that was worthless, or that really sucked. There's a reason for that, because we also need to learn and grow as tarot readers and understand what's happening around us. And also to, maintain our own confidence level and learn to trust ourselves no matter what anyone else is trying to say or do to throw us off of our game. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other questions or you have experiences you want to share, please let me know. But until next time, thank you so much for watching and have an absolutely beautiful day.